Oh, hell yeah. It's Thursday. We're getting closer to the weekend, and we're getting closer to my vacation next week. Into the week after. I take 2 different chunks in the summer. We have done this for 3 years now. This will be the 3rd year. I think. Maybe. Shit, I don't know. Maybe the 4th year. We have a camper, and it's an 18-foot hybrid camper that pops out on both sides. It doesn't slide out. It's not a slide out. It's actually a pop out. Or pop down, because it's almost like a clamshell type thing where each of the sides pops down like that, becomes a platform for the bed, and then has a canvas awning over it. Alright, so enough about that. If you want to know what camper I have and what camper I endorse at this point, maybe I'll do a video on the camper later. That's not what this is about, although it kind of is what this is about. So every year we go camping, and we've just gotten into a routine. And when we get into a routine with camping, we also get into a routine with packing, with unpacking, with setting up, with all that stuff. So, Jesus Christ, this road's bumpy. I took this road yesterday for the first time this season on my Harley, and when I hit one of these bumps, the front fork made the most god-awful noise. I wanted to stop and make sure that the wheel wasn't going to fall off. It was insane. I digress again. So we get into this mode of, and I've got a list and everything because I love lists. So I check all my stuff off the list of what we're going to pack, and make sure that we didn't forget anything. And last year, it kind of hit a critical mass. Last year and the year before as well, those 2 seasons kind of went the same. But like Alex has his tent. Well, it's my tent that he's sort of adopted. So he goes and sets his tent up. Then we had another small tent that was actually for Jack, in case Jack wanted it just to play with. But it turned out to be kind of handy because if it rained, we could put the cornhole boxes or platforms, whatever you call them, into that tent so that they would stay dry. Also, we had the camper. Also, we had 2 pop-up shelters. 2 canopies. One was screened in, so we would use that one to, I'm getting ready to turn here, or go across this intersection. The screened in one we would use around the picnic table, which is something that was on all the sites. And then the other open canopy, we would 10 by 10, we would use for sheltering all the cooking stuff. And then we'd also park the bikes under there if we weren't using the bikes. 2 bikes, 1 for each kid, the cornhole games, lights and all that crap, lamps, a shepherd's hook to keep another lamp on so that Alex could see if he gets up at night. The camper, obviously, the pop-outs. We would bring 4 tubes. No, we actually had 6 tubes last time because we were getting rid of some old ones. The pump for that, the pump for the bikes, all that crap. And it got to the point where we started to figure out, when Mary and I were kind of talking about it this year and what we were going to pack, we got so much clutter that we've accumulated that camping is not really relaxing as much as just like, all right, we got to deal with all this stuff, we've got to deal with setting all this stuff up and making sure that there's room and that the campsite's organized the right way and that stuff gets picked up and stuff gets taken care of. And it's all about obligations that you create for yourself voluntarily. And I've talked about this before. You've got voluntary and involuntary obligations and requirements that you need to meet in the course of a day, week, month, year, all that stuff. And you can create an obligation for yourself by virtue of the fact that you have certain things. Like, I was looking at my motorcycle yesterday. I haven't done routine maintenance on my bike since I bought it. And it's a Road King. It's a 2004, so it's a big touring bike. It's got a lot of little, bells and whistles on it, and it's got 25-ish thousand miles on it. Now, I didn't put those miles on there. I probably put about 2,000, maybe 3,000 miles on it. But it's got a lot of stuff that needs to be taken care of, and it has to be taken care of, in the rain and the winter and everything else. So, it's something that I created for myself because I bought the bike, because I wanted a motorcycle. Well, now I have to deal with the responsibility of maintaining that bike. Camping was the same way, and we were figuring out, as we were thinking about it this year, we've got all this stuff that we now have a responsibility to deal with. You want to make sure that your shit gets put up at the end of the day, otherwise somebody's potentially going to take it. Camping is a nice thing because when you're at a good campsite, there's definitely, not as much concern that people are going to just kind of walk around and take other people's stuff. That's not really something we worry about. But at the same time, if you leave it out there, it's going to be enticing to somebody, and somebody might potentially want to lift what you got. So there's that, but then there's also the tubes. You got to make sure your tubes are taken care of. You got to make sure the cornhole games are taken care of. You got to make sure all the kitchen shit's taken care of. So you got to really think about all that stuff in terms of what you really want to spend your time camping doing. Do you want to spend your time camping enjoying camping, or do you want to spend your time setting up all this stuff so that it's basically home with all the obligations from home and all the stresses from home and everything else? It's just that you're out in the woods doing it, and you have less power options and less water options and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to try this year. We're going to try a little bit more of a minimal approach to camping and see if we can get a little bit more enjoyment and relaxation out of it, because we're not creating that obligation to just spend our time camping dealing with stuff. So that's what's on my mind right now on Thursday when I'm on the way to work, and I got camping looming next weekend. So I'm going to start packing this weekend, and I'm going to try to pack selectively. I want to really make sure that I only pack the stuff we need. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll check in while we're camping. That's it.